The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
So thank you for coming down. Really appreciate everything. My name's Michael Siegel, so I'm the Director of Military Connected Services at Wentworth Institute of Technology. Kind of sponsoring the event that we'll have today. I'm also live here in Easton as well, so a veteran, so I'm really excited to be here. And thank you so much for Corey and the whole staff in the office here helping out. So today I'm about to introduce Les Brett, who is here from South Africa. He's served with the South African Army Special Forces, also works with the South African National Police in doing investigations. And he's here today, been for the last many years working anti-poaching, wildlife conservation, and a whole host of different areas. So I'd just like to introduce Les to all of you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you all for coming, making an effort. A big thank you to Michael and Corey for affording me this opportunity to be here today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then there's going to be a visual behind me, and then we're just going to do some questions and answers, okay? So I was born in a place, or raised in an area called Northern Zululand, which was the eastern coast of South Africa. I then went to Rhodesia, to the Rhodesian Bush War. I then came out of Rhodesia when it became Zimbabwe, and I joined the South African Defence Force, which I spent 11 years at. And after that, I decided to dedicate everything to the protection of wildlife. Of course, wildlife gets a bad deal. Okay, so that's what I've done, and since then I've been totally involved in anti-poaching, running anti-poaching units, doing anti-poaching training. I have a school called Dung Beetle Bush School, where I do a whole lot of different type of training as well. It's all educational stuff, but everything is arrowed towards conservation. I also worked for the biggest rhino owner in the world for 4 years. He had 2,370 rhinos when I was there. Unfortunately, he's gone insolvent now. So those rhinos are going to be sold off. And on one of my courses, Michael came along as a student, worst student I've ever had. Anyway, so hence me being here today. Okay, do you want to start the mic?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got about 13, 15-minute presentation we'll do here, and then
Fire! Each piece of land in the world can carry X amount of animals. So it's very important that we understand certain animals belong where they're supposed to be. We all know in South Africa the pressure on the environment. This is not a new thing. People for 2,500 years have been taking animal parts for medicinal purposes. And we can't stop it. What we can do is control it. So, unfortunately, that threat will always be there. All we can hope for, okay, is protecting areas like we are now, okay, where rhinos can be rhinos and making new rhinos, okay, where we get a birth rate higher than a poaching rate. And that's all we can hope for. White rhinos, okay, the pathology of white rhinos, what they do is they run in half-moon circles and stop, and the ears are like radars, 180 degrees. Okay, trying to hear us. The eyesight's bad. Okay, good smell, good hearing. And in these courses, it's a 10-day course, it's more of an environmental awareness program with a little bit of anti-poaching thrown into it. The threats, the pressures our wildlife face every day. Simple, hands-on teaching, experiencing in the bushveld, and that's what's all about. That is telling us, open your gap, read the animal. It'll tell you if you're too close or not too close. Okay, all animals are the same, all have a pressure zone. Work the horn down to powder, they then sell it on to Thailand. Okay? Then 1970 to 1990, Japan, Korea, Thailand, China and Yemen. Okay. Now, to date, from 2005 to present, it's Vietnam, China and Thailand. Those are the end user markets as we know. Okay. 26, 2003, 22, 2004, 10, 2005, 13, 2006, 24, 2007, 13, 2008 was the huge jump to 83 rhinos, and from then onwards it goes up 333, 418 per year. That's when rhino poaching really took off in this country, from 2008. The Bushmen, used to use this plant for what?
For bowstring.
No, just for fire. Okay. What they used to do is, because it's so fibrous, they used a battle to make fire. Rub sticks together, make a fire. So got their fire going, they had a little pot of this plant. They take it like that, they take one hot coal and they put it in here, they fold it up, put it in their skumba over here, and they run the whole day. That night, take it out, open it up, and they've got fire. Okay? Very fibrous.
So it's smaller for quite a
You remember movies in the old days, people going into caves with a flaming torch.
Yeah.
Okay. This was the original flaming torch. Okay. They soak this in animal fats, they light it, and they go into dark areas, into caves and this type of thing. Bobby Arnstad. Okay, this one over here. You know what this is? Okay, take it, take a little drop. Taste it. It's lekker, I promise you.
baie bitter, né?
Okay, this is called the bitter aloe, funny that. Okay, don't worry, it lasts 14 days. Now, aloe vera, okay, aloe vera, fantastic healing properties. Sunburn, okay, mosquito bites, spider bites, anything, put it on yourself. There it is, fantastic healing properties in aloe vera. Top of the nose, the bone structure, how it's hacked away with a panga. They removed the horn, they exited this property in a northwest direction. Take the dust cover off, take the breech block out. Thank you. Okay guys, listen up, we're on the range now. First, I repeat, safety first, please, on the range, okay? We'll be shooting live ammunition and for live exercise, so safety is paramount, okay? When you shoot a rifle, you shoot the one eye closed. You need to aim, okay? When you come and shoot with a handgun, you can keep both eyes open. Think before you shoot. Once you pull the trigger, you can't bring it back. Think before you shoot. Right. Stop, get down. Okay. There you go.
After an hour's uneventful patrol, Les spots something suspicious through the night vision equipment.
One person. It's gone down to ground now.
The tango is challenged, but it turns out he's the camp's night guard picking up his ride home.
Joseph.
Yeah, Dr. Gary is here. Welcome you straight to the lodge.
Today we have a injured rhino, I think was injured by a buffalo, and we have the vet here. We're going to dart the rhino, and then the vet's going to attend to its wounds.
So the doctor will first look at it and then he will dart it. And from there he will most probably clean the wound out and give it an antibiotic shot just to help with the infection and so on. And then he would give most probably an ointment of some sort directly onto the wound. That will also help with the healing process.
He should stand for quite a long time before he goes and lies down, and hopefully he won't go into the bush or he won't fall into a hole and stuff like that. That's all stuff that can go wrong. And then once he's down and once it's safe for us to work with him, I'll call you guys in and you can come up and look around him. I'll be completely focused on treating the wound and getting that right. So the wound, I saw a photograph of it. If it was on a reserve that wasn't as well managed as far as anti-poaching and stuff like that was concerned, I'd be really concerned that it's a bullet wound. It looks like a bullet wound, and some of the poachers don't really shoot all that well. So if they aim for the chest, they hit them at the back. But I'm hoping that it's a natural wound. So either from a fight with another bull. Okay, the dart's in. It was a nice shot on the shoulder, and we normally give them about 6 to 8 minutes to see if there's any sign of them showing effect from the drug. There's quite a few things that can happen although the dart hits and it sticks, where the drug doesn't get injected. So it's important just to watch and make sure that they are showing signs and effect. If they're not showing anything by about 8 to 10 minutes, then we'll put a second dart in.
Come on, Amos, push.
1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. Run over. Go. That big jump. Yeah.
Well, it's been amazing. We've seen more animals than I thought we would, and seeing something up close, like we really have an appreciation more than if you just see a picture or if you read about it.
Then you hear things walking through the camp and you realise you've got antelope walking around your tent as you're sleeping. And then you guess how you start learning all this information.
You think of poaching and you get really frustrated. You think that, that this is happening, what can you do about it? So you actually come here and you see people on the ground, what they're doing. And it feels good to be a part of it. It's not just a safari. You go back with an experience that you feel is more meaningful. So it's fun, it's educational, it's a bit of an adventure. It's been great.
All it is having a wonderful time in the bush and learning. Conservation through education.
Okay, so that's it. So as you can see,
It's not all doom and gloom. There's some also very, very rewarding things happening out there. The poaching problem affects everybody, all animals, and most African countries, okay? And it's not only dedicated to big tangible animals, big sexy animals like rhinos and elephants, okay? Everything is threatened. A lot of the smaller species are in a worse condition than the rhinos. Species like the pangolin, the scaly anteater, they are the most poached animal at the moment and the most heavily trafficked animal in the moment. Of course, they are very easy to catch, and they get sent, like the rhino's horns, they get sent to the Far East where they are turned into medicinal purposes, medicinal medicines, and that has been going on for 2,500 years. So you won't be able to change it. You can't change these beliefs, all right? So all we can hope for is look after these animals to a point where more are born than poached. That's the best we can do. People say, we're going to wipe out poaching. You'll never wipe out poaching. It's been there for thousands of years, okay? And then poaching also takes 4 different avenues. There's the international trade, illegal trade in animal parts. There's the illegal trade in live animals, which is a huge trade. There's the trade in trees, in timber. Forests are being cut down and also sent to the Far East. There's the trade, which is internal trade, which is the bush meat trade. Animals are killed for their meat. And it's not a case of a family going out there, killing an animal to feed his family. That doesn't exist. It's a case of huge syndicates killing thousands of animals and selling that meat on as a business, as an industry. Okay, so those are the different avenues. Okay, then of course we have the marine trade as well, with fish, illegal fish nets being put up everywhere. So just one case in South Africa, they take in about 5 tons of fish a night. The fish is being dried and sent on to Vietnam. Okay, so it affects all animals, not just the big tangible ones. The poaching of elephants is it's terrible. However, there are lots and lots of elephants. There are too many elephants in some places. Okay, and the elephant poaching is just for their ivory. Okay, and the end user market, there's also the Far East, and all they do with that ivory, they carve it and they put it on the mantelpiece. When you go back 100 years, 150 years ago, elephants were poached, and a lot of them were shot legally for the ivory trade. And in those days, a lot of things were made of ivory. Snooker balls, knife handles, all made of ivory. So there was the end user product. Now there isn't. Those things are all made out of artificial materials now. So the only reason why they poach an elephant is to carve its tusk. Okay. Right, now, questions. There are no stupid questions. Ask as many questions as you like.
What happens when you what do you do when you run into a poacher?
I knew you were going to ask that.
You shoot them? You tell them to go home?
No, so all countries have different laws, okay? I can only speak from my side, from the South African side. The laws are very strict against us, not the poacher, basically. So you can't shoot him, okay? Unless your life is being threatened beyond any reasonable doubt, you're going to die. Then you can shoot him. And then you still have to go, you still get charged with murder, and then it's a process. Yeah, the law's not really in our favor there. And it's a long process. It takes about a year, and eventually you get off. So your murder charge eventually goes to a culpable homicide charge, and then you still got to wait, and then it goes to justifiable homicide. And then you get off your poaching charge.
Has that ever happened to you?
No comment. So yeah, it's a process, and it's very disheartening. And a lot of people are putting a big effort to save these animals, you know, and the authorities should do more, to be quite honest.
So when you come across them, do you just say don't do this and they leave?
No.
Or like...
So there's a process. We try to arrest them. Now, they don't want to be arrested, obviously, right? So there's a process in your arrest. So you need to know the law. You need to know how to make a legal arrest. So you arrest him, and it's legal, and you got him, and you got his stolen firearm, and you got the dead animal. Unfortunately, the animal's dead. It's after the fact, okay? But anyway, now he goes to court. Now there's another problem. Our judicial system in South Africa is not the greatest. So where is a rhino? He's in the bush. It's not in the cities. He's in the bush. So, and the way it works in South Africa is your trial will be at the closest magistrate's office to where the crime was committed. So it's in the bush. So that the closest magistrate office to whatever area it is, it's a small little town. So what magistrate do you think they've got there? You don't have the big powerful magistrate sitting in the main courts in Pretoria and Johannesburg. You have a guy just about to retire. He's never tried a poaching before. So the poachers have usually got syndicates behind them, so they've got lots of money, and they afford the best defense attorneys. So it's very difficult to get the guy to actually to do time. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, it does happen. If it's all done properly, they do time. And I'm talking from a private part, from private land. Okay, in government lands it's a little bit different. They do shoot poachers there, and they get away with it, but it's government. All right, so that's where we're at. There's lots and lots of poaching. You don't always catch them in the field. A lot of poaching you caught in national roads, in roadblocks.
Is it usually one guy, or is it like sometimes a group
No,
of people?
a poach, it depends what they're poaching. A rhino poacher comes with at least 4. So now down in the government regions, okay, which is close to international borders, close to Mozambique, Kruger Park, those poachers are coming across from Kruger. They have what I call the foot soldiers. They have the guy that does the actual shooting. Then you've got 2 guys. They'll hack that horn off, okay? And now they're bringing a 4th guy with an automatic weapon as a protector. So he's going to protect the poachers against the anti-poaching unit. So that's happening in that area, not so much on private land.
That's too bad. I was going to sign up if I could shoot him.
Yeah, we won't tell. Okay, so it's a problem, but I'm conscious once we're on top of it, but we're doing the best we can, and it's getting better. It's getting better, number-wise.
Where does the money come from the poacher side, other than what they are selling? So how are they funded?
Okay, I don't have a board here. I'll explain to you. It's 7 tiers. Oh, I've got one. There's a pen on there. Oh, there we go.
You need a marker?
Yeah, there we go.
Marker? Yeah. So, one quick second.
While we're waiting, can I ask what happened to the rhino that was hurt? They were helping on the thing.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I'm currently sitting with 31 rhinos that I have under my control at the moment. And I've got 2 pregnant cows as well, so I've got new ones coming now. Thanks, Toss. Thanks, Ray. Okay, so these poaching syndicates work in 7 tiers. Number 1, okay, this is always inside information. It's your own staff sells the information to the syndicate that you, first of all, that you've got rhinos, secondly, that they do have horns, And thirdly, where they are on the reserve. And that all goes through cell phones. Okay? Then, can you guys see this side here? Then you got the guy that puts it together in country, the syndicate guy. Okay? So he's the organizer. He puts together the team. Then you got the guys that do the dirty deed, that come onto the property and do it and poach. Okay, so we call them foot soldiers. Then you got the transport. They got to get there, usually in a stolen car, in a taxi, or whatever they got, right? Then you got, number 5, the exporter, the guy that gets the horn out of the country. Let's say 72 hours, it's in Vietnam, from the middle of the bush. Okay? Then you got the bad dude. This is the guy sitting out of country, okay, usually in Vietnam, Asia, okay, Thailand, mainland China, okay. So he's crime syndicate. Now this crime syndicate guy here, he's not only doing rhino horn, he's doing drugs, he's laundering money, usually doing human trafficking. He's a criminal. And rhino horn is just a product of his criminal activity. Okay, then you get away this poor bugger here. This is the end user. The end user, he gets nothing. He pays for the little block of rhino horn. In reality, it's not his fault. A lot of them don't even know it's illegal. Okay, so this is the structure of the poachers. Now let's have a look at the why. Okay, before, many years ago, we had another market, end user market, all right, and that was in Africa and in Mali and Yemen, where the Arab sheiks wanted the second horn on the rhino. Rhino's got 2 horns, one small horn, one big horn. That second horn to use in ceremonial daggers. They have that horn embossed with rubies and diamonds and gold lace and a dagger handle for their ceremonial daggers. That has fallen away, thank God. But a new snake has risen, and that's Vietnam. All right? So, in the old beliefs, there was the taking of rhino horn for aphrodisiac purposes. You all know what that is, eh? Aphrodisiac, yeah? So, that's fallen away. Then there's the longevity. Take rhino horn every day, you're going to live a long time. Then there's the cure for cancer. Then there's another thing called warm blood. Now, warm blood is usually in kids running high temperatures. Give them a bit of rhino horn, bring the temperature down. Okay? All these beliefs are rubbish. Rhino horn is keratin. The closest DNA to rhino horn is a horse's hoof. All right. And now we're here through the grapevine. There's a new end user market, and that's the new party drug. So it's rhino horn, Red Bull, and cocaine. And that's in Vietnam. So even though we're losing some of these beliefs, new ones are being created. So you'll never ever stop it, but we can get onto it. All right? So let's have a look here. This guy over here, he sells the information, usually a staff member. He gets, this is Rand value, which is not much. He gets 5,000. This organizer here, he gets about 150,000 per horn. This guy here gets 10, the foot soldiers get 10,000. Transporter gets 5,000. Exporter 5,000. Average. This guy here, the kingpin sitting out of country, in either somewhere in Asia or Vietnam, wherever he is, okay, he gets his money not in rand value, his money is in dollar value. And the going rate now, okay, is between 70 and 110,000 US dollars per kilogram. So let's just make it 70. So he gets $70,000 per kg. Okay. Average rhino horn, 8 kilos. So it's $70,000 times 8. So you see the big money in it. And this guy, he gets nothing because he buys. So there's big money in it. Once you've got big money, you always have crime.
A kilogram is like 2.2 pounds.
Oh, you guys are
We're on pounds.
pounds. Yeah. I don't know.
A kilogram.
Yeah, 2.2 is about right. 2.
So that's kilograms. So yeah, it's about 2.2
Pounds. Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so this is where the big money is. Right. But now you get the media. You get the newspapers. You know, rhino horn, 70,000 US dollars a kilogram. And you sitting in your hut and you're a fisherman. If you're lucky, if you're earning $800 a year and you read that, what are you going to do? So this is another thing that we face. Okay, so the rhino poaching today, they are professional poachers, professional rhino poachers, okay? When it started off back in 2008, in 2009, they got into a reserve and poached 4 rhinos. I did the follow-up on that, and I arrested them on the main road, okay, in their vehicle. So I got 5 guys arrested, right? So out of the 5 guys, they were all wanted for other crimes, not poaching. Okay? Cash in transit, heist, rape, murder, robbery, whatever. So they're wanted for other crimes. So they just jumped on this poaching wagon. But in today's time, now, they are specialized poachers. They specialize in poaching rhinos. I arrested some people in 2016. And I arrested them on I can't remember, Thursday. Friday they were in the jails. Monday they were let out on bail. The following weekend they were rearrested for poaching again. So they were poaching while they're on bail. So they don't care.
So what keeps you doing what you do?
I'm a bit old for something else. No. I just...
If it's a vicious circle like that.
You know, in 1978, I was on patrol in a place called Gonarazu, which is a game reserve on the eastern side of Rhodesia, bordering Mozambique. And I saw some vulture activity, so I went to investigate there. And I came across 3 elephants that had been blown up with landmines. Now, the terrorists there in those days was a group called ZANU-PF. And they had to put landmines, blow the elephants up, take the ivory then gets sold, okay, for arms. So that's when I decided, no. If I'm going to do something, I've got to do something meaningful in my life. I had 2 paths to lead you, gynecology or anti-poaching. So I took anti-poaching. Right. So that was the deciding figure for me, the deciding thing that made me say, no, I'm going to look after animals. And also, I started Dung Beetle Bush School way back, at 34 years old now. I also realized that all these rangers running in the bush, they don't know that much. We need to educate them. So, and educate them with wildlife, with nature, and obviously with the anti-poaching element will be military education as well. So nature is the perfect thing. Modern nature is 1,800 million years old, and it's perfect, okay? But if you don't understand it, how can you look after it? You can't. Once you understand it 100%, and you'll never will 100%, but anyway, once you understand it, you can now work with it, all right? So if you look at, I'll just do a quick Everything in nature works on energy. We have an energy pyramid, which is like this here. And the smallest part of the pyramid, right at the top of the pyramid, right here, we have a thing called, these are carnivores. Carnivora. You all know what carnivora is, right? Yeah. Here, in this big center part here, we have herbivora. The very small sliver over here, omnivora. Who knows what omnivore is? Okay. Then this biggest part at the bottom, the biggest part of this pyramid here, are the producers and primary producers. That's plant matter. Excuse my writing. That's plant matter. Okay. So there's a pyramid as we know it, the energy pyramid in nature. So where does man fit in here? Omnivore? Okay. Man's an omnivore by choice. We have opposing thumbs and enlarged brain, which means we can make a decision. Animal can't make a decision. It's either or. So it's my decision if I want to become a vegetarian. Animal can't make that decision. So man thinks he can control this. He can't control this. So man's on the outside here. We put him like this here. There he stands there. Under him I always put this here. AH stands for arsehole. Okay? Because he cannot control this. He's on planet Earth, opposing thumbs, enlarged brain, to manage it. Manage nature. Can't control nature. If we try to control nature, it'll hit back so hard with natural disasters, it'll wipe man off planet Earth. But over here, these will all be tangible things. But everybody doesn't see the big picture, which is this whole section underneath here. And this whole section underneath here are the decomposers, the bacteria in the ground. Without the bacteria in the ground, nothing will exist on planet Earth. Everything has to be broken down and nutrient value given back into the earth. So this bacteria here is very, very important. And believe me, man can send a rocket to the moon and do all kinds of things. He can't remanufacture the bacteria in the ground. Once it's gone, it's gone. And there's some countries today where it's gone through mismanagement. I'll give you an example of that. Abyssinia. Who knows what Abyssinia was? Well done. Well done. Ethiopia. Ethiopia used to be a beautiful, lush country. It's a desert now. It's a dead desert in certain areas. Because they have messed they have destroyed their bacteria in the ground. So you look at all these foundations around the world today, giving money, donating money, and they donate money to save the rhino, save the elephant, save the rainforest, save the whales, all big tangible things. I'll go there, save the bacteria, no one gives a shit. But it's very, very important that we look after nature in its whole, okay? And understand it. Otherwise, this will never exist. Any more questions?
I noticed in your film the rhinos all had their horns, but I've heard that dehorning them is a...
Okay, so good question. In the private sector, we dehorn a rhino, okay? It takes away about 40% of the threat. Okay. Threat. The threat of being poached. Ah, you have. So.
But you seem to understand me. I can't understand you.
I'm lip reading. So with dehorning, okay, around horns like this here. That's where it joins the top of the head. So if you dehorn, you take away 40% of the threat. However, when you dehorn, you can only dehorn here, cut this off here. This part here has to remain on its nose because all the rhino sinuses end here. So if you take this off, it's going to die. But you take this off here, and you see the horrible pictures of rhino horns being smashed with axes. You don't need to do that. The rhino horn is flexible on this knot. It's not bone. It can move around. You take a bread knife, and it comes off beautifully and square. Okay, so you don't have to smash the thing. So this here is apparently the cancer cure. It's worth more money than this here. So you still have this part on the rhino. So you've dehorned your rhino, but there's still a 60% chance of them being poached. Okay, so then have a look at threat analysis. If you are close to a national road, you're close to townships, you're close to an international border, your threat is high. If you're in the middle of nowhere and you're hard to get there, your threat is a bit less. All right, so those threats are more than dehorning threat. But now just look at the dehorning. The dehorn a rhino, it's your own rhino, now you're going to dehorn him, you can't just dehorn him. You've got to get a permit to dehorn him. So you apply to Nature Conservation for a permit to dehorn your rhino. On your permit, it's got your address and what date you're going to dehorn. That information gets sold. That's the insider. So now, the poachers say, well, we're going to go there and poach a rhino. Just wait. Because we know after this date, we can go there and attack his farm because he's got rhinos in the safe. Okay? So if you've got lots of rhino horn and you don't want to keep them on site, you've got to put them in security. There are rhino horn security safes, but they're owned by companies. And you've got to pay per month for them to look after your rhinos, so your horn. So it's a bit of a issue. So we don't, you'll see some of my rhinos, they've got a horn, but it's sort of surrounded over here. They used to be dehorned. Okay. So the horn grows, okay, everything above 200 feet above sea level, it grows 1 inch a year. If it's below 200 feet above sea level, it grows 2 inches a year. If you're close to the coast. I don't know if you ever noticed, if you go coastal, your nails grow faster. Okay, that's because it's keratin, exact same thing. All right? So the horns do grow back. Okay, so we've chosen not to dehorn, but a lot of farms do dehorn. A lot of reserves. And it's an expensive exercise. Helicopters, vets.
You said smaller wildlife gets poached also. What do they use it for, like the anteater?
Okay, so pangolins go to the same end user market as rhino horns. Okay, then look at other stuff. There's another dark, horrible area. But it's an internal area. It's the tribal beliefs, especially with our witch doctors. And as the witch doctors, but there's another name for them, muti sellers, muti traders, okay, traditional healers, they like to call themselves now. The tribal people have these beliefs, and one of them, unfortunately, is the paws of lions, obviously the skin of leopards is used for something else, the paws of lions, vulture blood. The blood of a vulture gets sold on the black market. 800 rand for a little ampoule like this here. Because this is what they believe. So a lot of animal parts go through that traditional sort of healing black market. Owl's feet. All this type of stuff. And if you look at these little bottles full of animal parts, it doesn't look very appetizing at all. Anyway, so the vulture blood thing is because they believe if you've got a mountain here, let's say, so here's a mountain, right? Here's a dead animal here. There's vultures over here flying. But there's a mountain in the way. They can't see this dead animal there, but they go straight there. How's that? So they think, they're high up, they can't smell. So the locals think, hang on now, a vulture can see through the mountain. He can see into the future. If he can see into the future, if I take some of his blood, I want to win the lotto. I know I'm going to win the football. I know I'm going to marry. So there's a belief. And it's staunch. It is staunch. They believe this stuff. So the poor, at the end of the day, no, nothing to nutrition. They don't. No food, no. The bushmeat trade is organized, but that's for eating, okay, but syndicated, and it's sold per kilogram. So you can go buy bushmeat per kilogram, the bushmeat trade. They're not feeding themselves. You know, they're not doing it out of necessity. They'd rather go have Kentucky. They're not doing it out of, and believe me, they do. They're not doing it out of necessity to survive. In the old days, when I say the old days, when I was growing up in Zululand, the Zulus are very traditional tribal people. They're still wearing skins today, some of them. Okay, they were hunting for their family, and that's sustainable hunting. That's fine. It's fine. So, what my late father did, we went to the tribe, to the chief, and said, right, instead of you coming and poaching my animals, we're going to give you an animal once a month. Because poaching is indiscriminate. If I go shoot an old impala with no teeth, she's barren, she can't breed, so I can select that animal, go give it to the chief. So my poaching came down. See what I mean? So it's a way, it's a hard, you've got to look at it in both eyes, both roads. But when it comes just down to money, no.
What percentage of poachers are shot on site? Give me a number. Is it 1%? Is it 2%?
I can't give you percentage. I'll give you up to date, up to this year. This year, I think 13 had been shot. But at the same time, I know of 3 rangers that have been shot. So, and 10 of those 13 were shot in Kruger Park. The rest on private land.
What is the instance of the rangers converting to the dark side in some?
Very much so. It's not a well-paid job. It's a crappy job. So a lot of them, lot of anti-poachers become poachers, unfortunately. Yeah. So that's an unfortunate thing.
Is there anything done in the education system where they're going into the schools to talk about?
Done and dusted. Yeah. Done, and that route has been slogged to death. Yeah. Unfortunately, the time now is forget about educating, forget about passive conservation. We have to be aggressive conservation now.
Two things. Number one, I don't want anybody leaving here and thinking that we don't have problems. In our environment, that pyramid that he was explaining to us, it's the same thing here. And there are people that will tell you that we're not doing a very good job of protecting our environment. We're going to be doing a walk later in the year. We can learn about that. What can we do to help this anti-poaching?
There's 2 avenues. I don't like donations and that. I'm not a non-profit ever. I like people to come out to Africa. Come witness it for you. Not to witness the cruelty of it. Come witness the animals. Come, whatever I do is educational. Okay. You arrive, you go away with a host of knowledge and understanding. Come look at the anti-poaching guys, what they're doing. Go on a walk with them. Yeah? Come, we can demonstrate our canines, all this type of thing. You can be part of it. And if you come to Africa, or go to Africa, and you leave Africa without any knowledge, you wasted your money and your time. Okay, so that's how people can help. Come out and get involved in it. You know, a lot of people say to me on the poaching thing, telling me, giving me advice and whatever, but they're sitting on their couch at home watching TV. Come walk a patrol with my guys. Not one will ever come. You want to get involved, come out and experience it. It is a hell of an experience. And it's not all ammo and camo. It's all about understanding the laws, international laws, understanding the environment, understanding the animals. So it's a great thing. It's a great learning thing. All good? Thank you so much.